My husband said we couldn't afford IVF, then I found out he'd been funding his ex-wife's entire life for 3 years. I never thought I'd be the kind of person to go through someone's phone. I always believed that if you felt the need to snoop, the relationship was already over. But here I am, sitting on my bathroom floor at 2 a.m., scrolling through my husband's banking app while he sleeps peacefully in our bed, and realizing that everything I thought I knew about my marriage was a carefully constructed lie. Let me back up. My name is Sarah, and I've been married to Derek for 5 years. We met at a mutual friend's barbecue when I was 28 and he was 35. He was recently divorced, about a year out from his split with his ex-wife, Monica. He was upfront about it from the start, which I appreciated. He told me the marriage had been a mistake, that they'd married too young, grown apart, and the divorce was amicable. No kids, clean break, everyone moved on. Red flags? I didn't see any. He seemed emotionally available, ready for something new, and honestly, I fell hard and fast. Derek works in pharmaceutical sales and makes good money, or at least, I thought he did. I'm a teacher, so I'm not exactly rolling in it, but together, we were comfortable. We bought a modest house in the suburbs, took one nice vacation a year, and generally lived within our means. Or so I believed. The problem started about 2 years ago when we began trying for a baby. I'd always wanted kids, and Derek said he did too. We tried naturally for a year with no success. My doctor ran some tests and discovered I have PCOS and endometriosis, a double whammy that makes conceiving naturally extremely difficult. She recommended IVF. I'll never forget the day I brought it up to Derek. We were sitting at our kitchen table, and I'd done all the research. I had printouts with clinic options, success rates, and yes, the costs. I knew it was expensive. One cycle could run anywhere from $12,000 to $15,000, and we might need multiple cycles. I know it's a lot, I said, sliding the papers across to him. But I've been looking at our savings, and if we're careful, we could probably swing 1 cycle. Maybe 2 if we use the home equity line. Derek barely looked at the papers. His face went pale, and he ran his hand through his hair, this thing he does when he's stressed. Sarah, I don't think we can do this right now. The market's been unpredictable, and my commission structure changed. We need to be smart with our money. But this is our future, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. This is our family. I know, baby, I know. He reached across and took my hand. But I can't have us going into debt for something that might not even work. My cousin did IVF, 3 cycles, $40,000, and they still don't have a kid. I can't do that to us financially. I felt something crack inside me that day, but I told myself he was being practical. Responsible. Maybe even protective of our future. So I nodded, swallowed my disappointment, and said we'd keep trying naturally and save up. Except we never seemed to save up. Every time I mentioned IVF over the next 2 years, Derek had a reason we couldn't afford it. A bad quarter at work. Unexpected car repairs. The furnace needed replacing. Property taxes went up. There was always something. Meanwhile, I watched my friends have babies. My sister announced her second pregnancy. My coworker did IVF and now has twins. And me? I was stuck, watching my fertility window close while my husband kept telling me not yet, not yet. I started to feel resentful. I won't lie about that. I'd catch myself snapping at Derek over little things. We'd have the same fight on repeat, me saying we needed to prioritize this, him saying we had to be financially responsible. Our sex life became clinical, scheduled around my ovulation. The spontaneity and joy had been sucked out of our marriage, replaced by temperature charts and pregnancy tests that always came back negative. Last month, something shifted. Derek started being secretive with his phone. He'd take calls in another room. He'd angle his screen away from me when he was texting. He became jumpy when I walked into a room unexpectedly. I'm not proud of what I thought. I thought he was having an affair. It almost made sense in a sick way. We'd been distant. We weren't connecting emotionally or physically anymore. Maybe he'd found someone else, someone who didn't represent failure and disappointment every time he looked at her. The thought consumed me. I started watching him more carefully. Noticing when he said he was working late or had to run to the office on Saturday. I became someone I didn't recognize, suspicious, paranoid, anxious. Then came last Tuesday. Derek left for a work conference in Chicago. 3 days, he said. He kissed me goodbye Wednesday morning, told me he loved me, and said he'd call when he landed. Standard stuff. Except Wednesday night, I was doing laundry and found the receipt in his pants pocket. Not for a flight to Chicago, for a local jewelry store. $3,200. My heart stopped. Then it started racing. This was it. This was proof. He was buying jewelry for someone else. My husband was having an affair, and he'd been lying to my face while I begged him for the chance to have our baby. I sat on our bedroom floor with that receipt and cried for an hour. Then I got angry. Not the hot, explosive kind of anger, the cold, calculated kind. The kind that makes you do things you never thought you'd do. I knew Derek's phone password. He'd never changed it, his mom's birthday. And I knew he used the same password for pretty much everything because I'd teased him about it before, told him it wasn't secure. He'd laughed and said he had nothing to hide. I pulled up his banking app on my laptop. My hands were shaking so hard I mistyped the password twice. On the third try, I got in. What I found wasn't evidence of an affair. It was so much worse. The checking account looked normal at first. His paychecks deposited. Bills paid. Nothing suspicious. But then I noticed automatic transfers. Every 2 weeks, $1,500 transferred out to an account I didn't recognize. Not a credit card. Not a loan. Just an external account. $1,500 every 2 weeks. That's $3,000 a month. $36,000 a year. For 3 years. Over $100,000. I clicked on the transaction history, and my vision started to blur. The transfers went back 3 years, right around the time we started trying for a baby. Right around the time Derek suddenly couldn't afford IVF. The account nickname made me feel like I'd been punched in the stomach. Monica, support. Monica. His ex-wife. My husband had been sending his ex-wife $3,000 a month for 3 years while telling me we couldn't afford to have a baby. I dug deeper. The banking app showed external accounts he'd linked, and there was Monica's account with full transaction history. I could see everything he'd been sending money for. Her rent, $1,800 a month. Her car payment, $450 a month. Her insurance, $200 a month. Random Venmo payments labeled groceries, utilities, student loans, car repair, new laptop. He wasn't just helping her out occasionally. He was funding her entire existence. I found his credit card statements next. There was the jewelry store receipt, but it wasn't the first time he'd shopped there. He'd bought jewelry multiple times over the past 3 years. In February, a $2,800 purchase. Last June, $1,600. In October, $3,200, the receipt I'd found. The descriptions were vague, but one statement from February had a specific SKU number. I Googled it. Tiffany & Company heart tag bracelet. I felt sick. I ran to the bathroom and dry heaved over the toilet. My husband had been buying his ex-wife Tiffany jewelry while telling me we couldn't afford the medical procedure that would give us a child. But I wasn't done. I went back to his phone records. I looked at his call logs, his text messages. He'd been deleting his conversations with Monica, but his phone backed up to the cloud, and I knew how to access it. I found months of deleted messages. Thanks for covering my dental work, babe. You're a lifesaver. The bracelet is gorgeous. You really shouldn't have. I don't know what I'd do without you. You're the only person who's ever really taken care of me. Can you send a little extra this month? My sister's wedding is coming up and I need a new dress. And Derek's responses, anything for you. You deserve to be taken care of. Don't worry about paying me back. I told you, what's mine is yours. I found photos too. Monica at fancy restaurants. Monica wearing the jewelry he bought her. Monica on vacation, in Cabo, in Napa, in Miami. Vacations I didn't know my husband was funding. There was a video that broke something inside me. It was from her birthday last month. She was at some upscale restaurant, and she raised a glass to the camera and said, "Thank you to my amazing Derek for making this night possible. I'm so lucky to have you in my life." The comments from her friends, "You two are so cute." Relationship goals. "When is he finally going to remarry you?" Smiley face emoji. I played it 3 times before I fully processed what I was seeing. They weren't just friendly exes. She thought they were still together. Or getting back together. And Derek was letting her think that. My phone buzzed. A text from Derek, "Just got to the hotel. Long day. Love you." I stared at that message. Love you. He said it so easily. Like it meant something. Like he hadn't been systematically lying to me for 3 years while I blamed my broken body for not being able to give us a child we could never afford because he was too busy playing house with his ex-wife. I didn't respond. Instead, I took screenshots of everything. The bank transfers. The credit card statements. The text messages. The photos. The video. I created a folder on my laptop and backed everything up to 3 different places. Then I did something I never imagined I'd do. I texted Monica. Hi Monica, this is Sarah, Derek's wife. I think we need to talk. 3 dots appeared immediately. Then disappeared. Then appeared again. Finally, who is this? I sent her a screenshot of Derek and me on our wedding day. His wife. We've been married for 5 years. I found out about the money tonight. Call me. I included my phone number. She called in less than 30 seconds. What the fuck is this? Her voice was sharp, panicked. What do you mean his wife? Exactly what I said. We got married 5 years ago. We own a house together. We've been trying to have a baby. My voice was eerily calm. How long has he been sending you money? This is insane. Derek and I, we're together. We never really finalized things. The divorce was just a formality while we figured things out. I laughed. It was a harsh, bitter sound. You think you're together? He takes care of me. He tells me he loves me. We're working toward getting back together when the timing is right. The timing is never going to be right, Monica, because he's married to me. He comes home to me every night. He shares a bed with me. He's been lying to both of us. The silence on the other end was deafening. Send me proof, she finally said. Send me everything. So I did. I sent her photos of our house, our wedding album, our anniversary trips. I sent her the bank statements showing that the money he was sending her was coming from our joint account, money I'd contributed to as well. Oh my God, she whispered. Oh my God, I had no idea. He told me. He said you were just a roommate situation that got complicated. That he was trapped because of the house but was planning to leave. A roommate situation. That's what 5 years of marriage had been reduced to. How much do you know about his finances? I asked. I don't. I mean, he's always been generous. He said he was doing well at work. He told me we couldn't afford IVF, I said. I have fertility issues, and for 2 years he's been telling me we don't have the money to try to have a baby. Meanwhile, he sent you over $100,000. I heard her breath catch. Sarah, I'm so sorry. I didn't know. I swear I didn't know. I believe you, I said, and surprisingly, I did. She was a victim in this too. But I need you to do something for me. What? I need you to keep acting normal. Don't tell him we talked. Can you do that? Why? Because I'm going to make him face what he's done. And I need the element of surprise. There was a pause. Then, what are you going to do? I don't know yet, I admitted. But whatever it is, I need him to not see it coming. Okay, she said softly. Okay. I'll keep quiet. But Sarah? I really am sorry. For whatever it's worth. I know. We hung up, and I sat in the darkness of my living room, surrounded by the life I thought I'd built. The wedding photos on the wall. The couch we'd picked out together. The throw pillows I'd agonized over at home. Goods. All of it was a lie. Derek came home Friday night, all smiles and stories about his conference. He brought me chocolate, my favorite kind, and asked about my week like he actually cared. I smiled. I laughed at his stories. I ate the chocolate. And I planned. Because Derek had no idea that his perfect double life was about to come crashing down around him. The hardest part about knowing your entire marriage is a lie is pretending everything is normal. Derek came home from his conference in Chicago, and I had to sit across from him at dinner, listen to him talk about presentations and networking events that may or may not have actually happened, and act like I didn't know he'd been systematically draining our finances to fund his ex-wife's lifestyle. Saturday morning, he made me pancakes. He does this sometimes, plays the doting husband, and I usually find it endearing. This time, I watched him flip the pancakes and wanted to scream. How many of those $1,500 transfers had paid for Monica's brunch dates while I ate the same sad desk lunch at the school every day to save money? You okay? Derek asked, sliding a plate in front of me. You seem distant. I forced a smile. Just tired. Rough week at work. He kissed the top of my head. Well, it's the weekend now. Let's do something fun. Maybe go to that farmer's market you like? The farmer's market I like. The free activity. Meanwhile, Monica was probably brunching somewhere that required reservations. Sure, I said. Sounds perfect. While Derek was in the shower, I called my sister, Emma. She's a divorce attorney, corporate divorces mostly, but she knew enough to point me in the right direction. Sarah? It's 8 a.m. on a Saturday. Someone better be dead. My marriage is, I said flatly. I heard rustling, like she was sitting up. What happened? I told her everything. The IVF denials, The bank transfers, Monica, the jewelry, the text messages. All of it? Emma was silent for a long moment. Then, holy shit. I need to know my options. Legally. Okay. I heard her moving around, probably grabbing a notepad. First question, do you want to save this marriage? I laughed bitterly. What marriage? The one where my husband told me we couldn't afford to have a baby while he sent his ex-wife $100,000? That marriage? Fair point. Okay, then we're talking divorce. You're in a community property state, so everything acquired during the marriage is split 50-50. The house, the cars, the retirement accounts. The debt, I added. Because I just checked, and there's $25,000 on credit cards I didn't know about. Probably from funding Monica's lifestyle. Emma swore again. This gets better and better. Listen, you need documentation of everything. Bank statements, credit card bills, those text messages. Everything. Already done? Good. Next, you need to talk to a forensic accountant. If he's been hiding this much money, there might be more. And Sarah. Her voice softened. You need to protect yourself financially right now. Today. Open your own bank account at a different bank. Start moving your paychecks there. If you have any joint savings, you're legally entitled to half, take it before he does. Won't that make me look bad in court? You're protecting yourself from someone who's been committing financial infidelity for years. Document everything, but don't leave yourself vulnerable. If he realizes you know, he might drain everything out of spite. After I hung up with Emma, I sat on the edge of the bed and stared at the bathroom door. I could hear the shower running, hear Derek humming, actually humming, like he didn't have a care in the world. I wanted to burst in there and destroy him. I wanted to scream and throw things and make him hurt the way I was hurting. But I didn't. Instead, I went to the bank. I opened a new account at a credit union across town. I transferred exactly half of our joint savings, $14,000. I changed my direct deposit. I took Emma's advice and pulled Derek's credit report while I was at it, using the account access I still had. What I found made my blood run cold. There were 3 credit cards I'd never heard of. Combined, they had $47,000 in debt. Not the $25,000 I'd initially found, $47,000. And the purchase history was all the same: restaurants, jewelry stores, Venmo transfers, cash advances. He'd been taking out cash advances on credit cards to send Monica money. We were drowning in debt I didn't know existed while I'd been clipping coupons and buying store-brand groceries to save for a baby we were never going to have. I sat in my car in the bank parking lot and cried so hard I thought I might throw up. When I finally got home, Derek was on the couch watching football. "Hey babe, where'd you go?" he asked casually. "Just needed to clear my head. Went for a drive." He nodded, eyes back on the TV. "There's leftover pancakes if you're hungry." I wasn't hungry. I was homicidal. Sunday, I met with a forensic accountant Emma recommended. Her name was Patricia, and she was a short, no-nonsense woman in her 60s who'd seen every financial dirty trick in the book. "I've seen worse," she said after I showed her everything, "but not by much. This is sustained, deliberate financial fraud against you as a spouse. Can I use this in the divorce?" "Absolutely. This is dissipation of marital assets. He spent community property on a third party for his own benefit. The court can make him pay back every cent, plus award you a greater share of remaining assets as compensation." "How long will this take?" "The investigation? Maybe a month to build a complete picture. The divorce itself? Depends on if he contests it. But with this level of deception?" She looked at me over her glasses. "You hold all the cards here." Monday, I called in sick to work. I couldn't face the classroom, couldn't face the kids asking me why I looked sad. Instead, I drove to 3 different jewelers with screenshots of Derek's credit card statements. At the second store, I got lucky. "Oh yes, Mr. Jennings," the sales associate said, pulling up his customer file. "He's one of our regular clients. Always buying beautiful pieces for his partner." "His partner," I repeated. "Well, I assume so. He's always very specific about what she would like. Just last month he bought a lovely pendant." She showed me the record. $3,200. The receipt I'd found in his pocket. "What did he say it was for?" The woman smiled. "An early Christmas present," he said. He was so excited about surprising her. I thanked her and left before I could break down in the middle of the store. That night, Derek came home with Thai food, my favorite. "Thought we could use a treat," he said, setting the containers on the table. "You've seemed stressed lately." I looked at him, really looked at him. At the face I'd loved for 5 years. The face that had promised me forever, promised me a family, promised me a partnership. Derek, I said slowly, do you love me? He looked surprised. Of course I do. Where's this coming from? Do you want to have a baby with me? His expression shifted, the same uncomfortable look he always got when I brought up IVF. Sarah, we've talked about this. I want kids, but we have to be smart about money, I finished. Right. We have to be smart about money? Exactly. I nodded. Okay. He relaxed, clearly relieved I wasn't pushing. He opened the food containers and started serving us both, chatting about his day, about a new client he'd landed. I barely heard him. I was too busy planning Tuesday. Tuesday, I called Monica. I need you to do something, I told her. And I know it's a lot to ask, but whatever you need, she said immediately. I haven't been able to sleep since we talked. I feel sick about all of this. I need you to text Derek. Tell him you need to see him. That it's important. Why? Because I need him to admit what he's been doing. Out loud. On record. You want me to record him? Yes. Can you do that? There was a pause. He's going to hate me. He's been using you, I said. He's been using both of us. He deserves to face that. Okay, she said quietly. Okay, I'll do it. That afternoon, Derek got a text from Monica. I know because I saw his face change when he read it, the same guilty, furtive expression he always got when she contacted him. He disappeared into the garage to call her. I pressed my ear against the door. Hey, what's wrong? Tomorrow? I don't know if I can. No, you're not bothering me. Of course you're important to me. Okay. I'll figure something out. I'll be there at noon. Love you too. Love you too. I went upstairs and sat on our bed and tried to remember the last time I'd felt truly happy. Before the infertility diagnosis? Before we started trying for a baby? Back when I thought Derek and I were building something real together? Wednesday at 11:45 a.m., I parked across the street from Monica's apartment. Derek's car pulled up at exactly noon. He looked around, making sure no one was watching, before heading inside. I gave them 15 minutes, then I called Monica. Put me on speaker, I said. I want to hear him try to explain this. I heard rustling, then Monica's voice, Derek, we need to talk about Sarah. What about Sarah? He sounded confused. Your wife, Derek? Silence. Monica, I can explain. Explain what? Explain how you've been lying to me for 5 years? Explain how you're married? It's complicated. Sarah and I, we're not really. Not really what, Derek? My voice came through Monica's phone speaker. Not really married? Not really partners? Not really trying to have a baby together? I heard something crash, probably Derek dropping his phone. Sarah? How are you? I'm coming up, I said. Don't leave. I hung up, got out of my car, and walked into that apartment building with my head held high. Monica's apartment was on the 3rd floor. The door was open. Inside, Derek stood in the middle of the living room looking like he'd seen a ghost. Sarah, I can explain everything. Can you? I looked around the apartment. It was nice. Really nice. Granite countertops, hardwood floors, designer furniture. This is a beautiful place. What's the rent? I don't. $1,800 a month, Monica supplied quietly. She was sitting on the couch, arms wrapped around herself. He's been paying it for 3 years. I walked over to the coffee table where several pieces of Tiffany jewelry were laid out. Monica had clearly been preparing for this confrontation. I picked up a bracelet. Heart tag bracelet. $2,800. I priced it when I found the charge on your credit card. I set it down and picked up a necklace. This one's pretty. What was it, Derek? 2,000? 3? Sarah, please. You know what's funny? I turned to face him. For 2 years, I blamed myself. I thought my body was failing us. I thought I was the reason we couldn't have a baby. I cried myself to sleep wondering what was wrong with me, why I couldn't give you the one thing you said you wanted. I do want that. Shut up. The words exploded out of me. You don't get to talk. Not yet. Derek's mouth closed. He looked smaller somehow, deflated. You spent over $100,000 on another woman while telling me we couldn't afford IVF. You bought her jewelry, paid her rent, sent her on vacations, treated her to fancy dinners. You made her think you were getting back together while you were sleeping in our bed every night. You lied to both of us, systematically, for years. I never meant for it to go this far, he said weakly. Monica and I, we have history. I couldn't just cut her off. You didn't have to cut her off, I said. You could have been honest. You could have told me you still had feelings for your ex. You could have been a decent human being instead of a coward who played both sides. I love you, Sarah. I really do. No, you don't. My voice cracked. You love the idea of me. The respectable wife, the teacher, the woman who'd give you the suburban dream life. But you weren't willing to sacrifice anything for that life. You wanted it all, the wife at home and the ex-girlfriend you were still in love with. Monica made a sound, something between a sob and a laugh. He's not in love with me either, Sarah. I was just convenient. Someone who made him feel needed. We both looked at Derek. Is that true? I asked. Were we both just convenient? He didn't answer. He didn't have to. The look on his face said everything. I want a divorce, I said. And I have a forensic accountant documenting every cent you spend on Monica. I have screenshots of your messages. I have Patricia's testimony about the jewelry. I nodded toward Monica. I have my testimony. And I have my lawyer, who's very excited to present all of this to a judge's dissipation of marital assets. Derek went pale. You can't. I can, and I will. You stole from our marriage, Derek. You stole my chance at having a baby. You stole years of my life. And now you're going to pay for it, literally. I turned to Monica. I'm sorry you got dragged into this. I'm sorry too, she said. For what it's worth, I really didn't know. I know. I walked out of that apartment and didn't look back. The divorce took 4 months. Derek tried to fight it at first, tried to claim the money he gave Monica was gifts and therefore not marital property. But Patricia's forensic accounting was thorough, and my lawyer was ruthless. The judge was not sympathetic to Derek's case. In the end, I got the house, 60% of his retirement accounts, and Derek was ordered to pay me back $75,000, half of what he'd given Monica, plus half of the secret credit card debt. His wages are being garnished to pay it off. Monica and I don't talk regularly, but she did send me a message through Facebook a few weeks after the divorce was finalized. I paid him back the last 3 months of rent and sent you half. It's not much, but it's something. I'm sorry for my part in all of this. It was $2,700. I put it toward my IVF fund. Last month, I moved out of the house Derek and I shared. Too many memories, too much pain. I bought a small condo closer to the school where I teach, something that's just mine, that no one can take from me. I also met with a fertility specialist. You're 35, which is definitely still doable, Dr. Shah told me. With your diagnosis, IVF gives you about a 40% chance per cycle. Better odds if we do 2 cycles. How much for 2 cycles? With medication and monitoring, probably $28,000. I did the math in my head. The settlement from Derek, the house sale proceeds, my savings. I had $52,000. Let's do it, I said. I'm starting my first cycle next month. I'm terrified and excited and grieving and hopeful all at once. Someone asked me recently if I regret the marriage, if I wish I'd never met Derek. The truth is complicated. I regret the lies, the wasted time, the betrayal. I regret that I spent 2 years thinking my body was the enemy when really it was my husband. But I don't regret leaving. I don't regret fighting for myself. I thought I needed Derek to have the family I wanted. Turns out, I just needed to get him out of the way. A week ago, I went on a first date. His name is Marcus, he's a high school counselor, and he has a 13-year-old daughter from a previous relationship. I told him upfront about the IVF, about wanting kids, about everything I'd been through. That's a lot, he said thoughtfully. But you know what I hear when you tell me that story? I hear someone who knows exactly what she wants and isn't afraid to fight for it. That's pretty incredible. I don't know if Marcus and I will be anything serious. It's too soon to tell. But for the first time in years, I feel like myself again. Not someone's wife. Not a broken woman who can't conceive. Not a victim of someone else's lies. Just Sarah. 35, teacher, future mother, one way or another, and survivor of the worst betrayal I could have imagined. And if I've learned anything from this nightmare, it's this: the only person you can truly count on is yourself. Trust your instincts. Verify what you're told. And never, ever let someone make you feel small for wanting what you deserve. Derek texted me last week. I'm sorry. I know it doesn't mean anything now, but I really am sorry. I was a coward. I read it, then deleted it without responding. He's right about one thing: it doesn't mean anything anymore. I'm done giving him space in my head. I'm done mourning what I thought we had. I'm ready to build something new. Something real. Something that's entirely my own. And someday soon, if everything goes according to plan, I'm going to be holding my baby in my arms. A baby I fought for, saved for, and made happen on my own terms. Derek will never know what that feels like, creating life with someone who actually deserves it. And honestly, that's the best revenge of all.